Monday, November 25th. In Britain, RAF commanders and political figures attend the presentation of the first prototype of the Mosquito PRMK-1 bomber, designed by engineer and aviator Geoffrey de Havilland. Despite the reservations of some Army commanders, de Havilland was determined to build a wooden bomber which was fast, agile, and capable of reaching high altitudes. The tests show the great potential of the model, which will soon be mass-produced. The Luftwaffe keeps pounding Southampton, while the British bomb the airfield of Kristiansand in Norway and the ports of The Hook of Holland in the Netherlands and Boulogne in France. The government of Vichy, France, presents a formal complaint to the British, calling on them to apologize and pay reparations for the bombing of Marseille. Speaking at a press conference, the American ambassador in Britain, Joseph Kennedy, expresses the view that the British have little chance of winning the war. His remarks deeply anger Winston Churchill. The Bulgarian government decides not to send troops to the Turkish border to avoid any buildup of tension. Tuesday, November 26th.
We ought not to flatter ourselves by
in London, Winston Churchill tells the House of Commons that the government will reject any proposal for a Christmas ceasefire. For his part, the Foreign Secretary, Lord Halifax, declares that the independence and territorial integrity of Bulgaria will be respected as long as the country does not support Britain's enemies. The English capital is bombed again by the Germans. The RAF enters German airspace and targets the naval bases of Kiel and Wilhelmshaven, as well as fuel storage facilities in Hamburg, Cologne, and the outskirts of the Dutch port of Den Helder. In the Greek-Italian War, aircraft of the Regia Aeronautica attack enemy positions in Corfu. Meanwhile, Greek troops continue to push back the Italians further into Albanian territory. They can count on the support of the British Air Force in Greece, which bombs Durazo, Durrës, one of the most important ports of Albania. Due to his differences with Mussolini, General Pietro Badoglio, chief of the High Command, argues in favor of a withdrawal of the Italian army from Greece. The Belgian Congo declares war on Italy. In Leopoldville, Gabon, the Free French forces of General de Gaulle arrest all Italian citizens suspected of collaboration with Mussolini's fascist regime. The American Defense Committee asks Roosevelt for an increase in arms production to boost the aid being sent to the British in their struggle against the Nazis. Wednesday, November 27th. Heavy fighting continues in Albania between Greeks and Italians. Mussolini orders his generals to hold their positions at all costs and intensifies the bombing campaign against Greece while preparing a counteroffensive. The Battle of Cape Tulada takes place in the Mediterranean. Italian ships have orders to only engage in combat if they enjoy numerical superiority, but the aggressive tactics of the Royal Navy artillery forces them into battle. The British retreat after being misinformed by their reconnaissance planes, while the Italians also withdraw, convinced of their inferiority. An Italian destroyer and a British cruiser are damaged, but the 50 Matilda tankers sent to Alexandria arrive safely with their vital supplies for the Desert War. In the Battle of Britain, due to bad weather conditions, the Germans limit most of their flights to surveillance missions. Nonetheless, London is bombed and the heaviest fighting between fighter planes takes place in the skies above Kent. In Romania, the government orders the execution of 64 politicians and military men from King Carol's regime. The United States Congress delays increasing credit to Britain until January next year. In the Sea War, U-103, commanded by Victor Schulze, sinks the British freighter Glenmore. U-104, captained by Harold Gerst, destroys the Charles F. Meyer and the Diplomat, while Gerd Schreiber's U-95 sends the Irene Maria to the bottom of the sea. Thursday, November 28th. The Nazi propaganda minister, Joseph Goebbels, sends a message to the German ambassador in Paris, Otto Abetz, ordering him to take the necessary steps to put an end to the predominance of French culture. The film, The Eternal Jew, opens in Berlin. Directed by Fritz Hippler, under the supervision of Goebbels, it employs a documentary format and uses archive footage to portray the Jews as cultural parasites wandering throughout the world. The objective of the film is to incite hatred against Jewish people. The Luftwaffe launches intermittent attacks on London, Plymouth, and Liverpool, while ships of the Kriegsmarine shell the port and city of Dover. The Uruguayan Congress approves negotiations between the government and the Americans about the setting up of naval and air bases in Uruguay. In the Battle of the Atlantic, U-104 and its 49-man crew disappear at sea for unknown reasons. Meanwhile, U-103, commanded by Victor Schulze, sinks the Mount Athos and the St. Elwyn, while Gerd Schreiber's U-95 sinks the Ringhorn. Friday, November 29th. Crete, the largest Greek island in the Aegean Sea, is occupied by British and New Zealand troops. Meanwhile, the Italians counterattack in the area of Progratic in Albania and bomb Corfu in the Ionian Sea, while intense battles take place in the skies between Italian and British planes. In the Battle of Britain, Liverpool endures its heaviest bombing by the Germans since the start of the war. For its part, the RAF attacks the industrial areas of Dusseldorf and Mannheim in Germany, as well as Antwerp in Belgium and Le Havre in France. At the same time, a naval battle is fought in the English Channel between German torpedo boats and Royal Navy ships. In the Mediterranean theater, British Navy planes keep up the pressure on the Italian positions, bombing the cities of Brindisi and Taranto, and Laki, the largest port on the island of Leros in the Dodecanese, as well as hitting Tripoli in Libya. Malta again endures the attacks of the Italian Air Force, which tries everything in its power to try to destroy the port of La Valletta, but meets fierce opposition from British fighter planes. The American government once more applies the Selective Service Act, passed in 1917. This gives the president the powers to recruit the number of men he deems necessary. All men between 18 and 45 years of age are subject to the draft. Saturday, November 30th. Japan officially recognizes the puppet government headed by Yuan Qingwei in China. In the Battle of Britain, there is no let-up in the Luftwaffe's bombing campaign, with London and Southampton enduring intense raids. In retaliation, the RAF bombs the cities of Cologne and Bremen. The ports of Northern Europe are also attacked by waves of RAF bombers, with Boulogne and Le Havre in France again the hardest hit. The death of Jean Chiappe, High Commissar of Vichy France in Syria and Lebanon, is confirmed after his plane is shot down while flying with other collaborationists to Beirut. In the Italian-Greek War, the Greek armies continue to advance in Albania. Meanwhile, Italian commanders order more bombings against cities and ports in Epirus. In the Sea War, German submarines have sunk more than 1,600,000 tons of Allied merchant ships since June. Nevertheless, the British are making great efforts to replace their losses, aware that if the blockade of Britain succeeds, a German invasion will soon follow.